Welcome to the journey of an entrepreneur. I'm Ryan Batts, founder of Teacher Under Pressure, and this podcast is all about the highs, the lows, and lessons of entrepreneurship. I'll share my own personal journey, going over the wins, the struggles, and the mindset shifts that made the difference. But I'll also bring in other entrepreneurs, leaders, and go-getters to share their stories. If you're looking for real conversations about business, life, and pushing through challenges, you're in the right place. Let's go get it. Welcome to the journey of an entrepreneur. I'm your host, Ryan Batts. Today we're sitting down with Tom Jameson, the owner and operator of Astrowatt Electric. Tom's journey started in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, where a summer job in an electrical trade completely changed his path. What began as a way to make extra cash turned into a lifelong passion, one that led him to North Carolina, where he built a career from the ground up. With experience in everything from field work to leadership roles, Tom eventually co-founded Astrowatt Electric with his wife, Nicole. Now they are on a mission to make Astrowatt a trusted name for quality electrical work in the Triangle area. Let's dive into Tom's story and the lessons he's learned along the way. Tom, I appreciate it. Been trying to do this for a minute. It's either I'm too busy, you're too busy. And yeah, we got life and business, and we're kind of on the same course here. So I think we understand each other pretty well. But thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. I'm looking forward to it. And I know it's been a couple of weeks, if not months, trying to get this thing happening. But, I do appreciate it, and, appreciate the partnership that we have as friends and business owners in this area as well. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fun because I feel like we're growing at the same time. We kind of had the same philosophy when it comes to business, and it's really cool to have someone, friend you can reach out to and talk to about things. And yeah, let's kind of get into it. Everybody kind of needs to know about your story. So if you just want to give a quick glance back of how everything started.
Yeah. So, I've been doing electrical work now for over 20 years, or right around 20 years, and started up in Pennsylvania, moved to North Carolina in 2008, jumped around between, did the commercial, industrial, new construction, service, remodel construction, things like that. When I started the business, we incorporated Astrowatt Electric. We actually started it as alternate current solutions back in 2018. And at the time, we were kind of going to do a little bit of everything. We do some small commercial work, service work. We had a lot of connections with builders, remodelers. So we did a lot of additions, kitchen remodels, bathrooms. We knew what we really wanted to do was get into residential service work. And that was kind of the bread and butter where we really wanted to be, because that's where so much of our business is built on customer service. And that's where you can really start relying on a lot of the customer service skills to help get your company to where you want to get to. So, in 2022 or 21, we made the decision to rebrand, hired a company out of New Jersey. This guy's name's Dan Antonelli. He's an awesome guy and all over the place now. They're rebranding companies left and right, but hired them in 2021. And then in end of 21, it went all through 2022. And then January 1st of 2023 is when we launched it. So January 1, 2023, we kind of launched the new brand. That was quite the ordeal, going from closing down on Christmas break in 22 as Alternate Current Solutions and opening up January 2nd as Astrowatt Electric with new vans, uniforms, and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of interesting. But that kind of led me to today, and here we are.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that story because you told me that. And yeah, that was a lot happening in a short period of time.
Yeah,
so
it sure was.
We'll talk about that. First, I want to talk about, I always want, if anybody's listening, to take away one or two pieces from individuals that are, in the entrepreneurial space. One thing that your company succeeds on very well is the customer service piece. Can you kind of just address that? Like, why did you hone in or focus so much on customer service when building this company?
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with a couple things. One, had a lot to do with owning, or I'm sorry, like yeah, owning a home and having people come into your house and work in your home before, and then me working for a lot of other home service businesses. And for years it was mind-boggling to me. Yes, we need to make money, and that's how businesses stay in business. And we can't just be the greatest customer service company and do $0 in revenue. We wouldn't be around very long. But the companies I worked for leading up to starting this company, like the only thing that mattered was numbers. And it was numbers, numbers, numbers over anything else. The customer was always wrong. The company was always right. And it was just, I knew how much this industry needed customer service and needed the people, that they could trust coming into their home and that they could trust working for you and with you. And that's really what led us so much to focus on the level of customer service that we currently do right now, was just because I knew that this industry lacked it. And what's kind of cool, and I don't by any means think that I'm, spearheading this thing, but as a whole, the home service industry does seem to be going down that road right now where customer service is so important. And I love seeing that. Just, of the hundreds of business owners in this local area or the ones all throughout the country that I talk to, if you aren't customer service focused, you're going to put yourself out of business very quickly, especially if you're trying to stay in the residential home service space.
100%. That was just such a low bar when I got into the home service field.
Yeah.
It was the simple things when I was starting out that kind of, I don't know, brought the idea. Oh, you showed up on time. Oh, you sent a message before you were coming. You actually did what you said you were going to do. Just like simple professional things that go into there that, I don't know. It seems like it was lacking a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I said, when I started this thing, I always said there's two things that I'd be okay with. One I'd be okay with is if somebody called our company and we told them, hey, we're 5, 7, 10 days out, and they didn't want to book with us. Totally understand that. I don't expect you to wait. Or if we come out to your house and give you a price and tell you, hey, it's XYZ to do this, you say no, then okay, cool. I'm perfectly fine with the two of those things. What I'm not okay with is I would never be okay with telling you we're going to be at your house on Tuesday and then not showing up on Tuesday, or coming out and telling you it's going to cost the price, and after the job's over, it's higher than what that price was. And that's really, it seems so simple, but those are the two things that have been behind every decision we've ever built with this company. Before we built our core values and our mission and what our vision looks like, it was those two things that if we know that we can just be upfront with everybody ahead of time and tell them that, this is what our schedule looks like. However, what we tell you, we will show up 100% of the time. We're going to show up. And then if we do agree to do work with you, you will never pay us a dime more than what we agreed on, no matter how long it takes, what hiccups we run into, or anything like that. And that's really helped us get to where we are today, because surprises do come up. You cut into a customer's ceiling, or like intentionally. We don't do that on accident, but you do that kind of stuff, and you find things, and you gotta kind of adjust and plan on the, and just kind of figure out how to do it. And it's not the customer's fault. And you tell the customer it's going to cost a couple $1,000s to do this giant project, and they agree to it, and then you run into all these issues and try to come back to them and tell them it's going to cost more. Like, that's the quickest way to put yourself out of business. And then the constant, there's so many people out there, and I think I used to get caught up in this, and not in this business, but everybody loves to overpromise and underdeliver. And as long as you can continue to underpromise and overdeliver, and underpromising is like, oh, were you misleading? We don't think of it as misleading. We just think of it as like being extremely upfront. And we're not going to tell you something if we can't 100% guarantee that we can do that for you.
I like that. Under promise, over deliver. I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car right out of college, and they're like huge customer service based company. And that was drilled into our head. Under promise, over deliver. So that's a good one. Yeah, I've worked with you a couple times, and you have updated emails and text messages, and you got pictures of your employees, and it's lighthearted also, which is fun. It kind of just through your text. If I didn't know you, just through your text, your pictures, I would, as a customer, was like, okay, these are real people. They're funny, like you're describing Colby, who's 6'7", and he has a joke ready for you when he comes. Like
Yep.
that's funny to me, and it's it's different, kind of unique. I think it all goes into the customer service pieces as well. And
Yep.
tell me if I'm wrong. I want to say that you told me that y'all called the customer and offer like coffee or something maybe before.
We
Or,
do.
yeah,
Yep. So every one of our first morning appointments we go to, we offer to pick them up Starbucks.
yeah,
You
that's
know, we rolled that out a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it was funny when we first told the team that, hey guys, when we're heading out to a customer's house, you're going to call them, and as we do, we call every client we had to, but the morning appointments, we're going to call them and ask them what we can pick them up from Starbucks. And the guys are like, yeah, we're not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. That's weird. That's creepy. And the buy-in eventually happened. And it's really so cool to and we don't do it for anything other than, wow, that would be awesome if somebody did that to me. And we know that we're sometimes showing up in the morning before people get their kids out the door, and before somebody jumps on a meeting, and they've got a lot going on. And we know that also in their mind, what they have going on is, we have an electrician coming to our house. Is it cleaned up? Is it not? And what this really helps do is, it just tells them who we are. We're not coming in to judge. We're not trying, we could be your neighbors, right? But what we are and who we are is, that's who we are. We offer coffee and breakfast and all these things to our team almost every single day, coffee every day. But so that's kind of where that started from, is that if we could help your morning a little bit by offering you Starbucks and bringing that to you in the morning, then that's what we'd like to do. And you'd be stunned some of the things the requests that we get. Sometimes we get the coffee. Sometimes we get the coffee requests. The other day we had a blueberry muffin request from Starbucks. We get the cake pop request. And it doesn't, it's not limited. We've had people be like, hey, my parents are visiting. Can you bring 4 coffees? And yep, we sure can. So there's no limit to it, but yeah, we love doing it now. And it's really cool to see the look on somebody's face when you show up to their door and you have a coffee to hand them from Starbucks.
Yeah, I think it's now, for one, smart. For two, I like that it reflects who you are as a company. You said you bring it to your team. Why not extend that that hand to the customer as well?
Yep.
Which kind of goes into our next section, is like work culture and who you hire. Not every technician who's learning about your field is going to really fit, I think, to feel comfortable asking that customer for coffee or be customer service based. So what do you look for when you're trying to hire to fit your culture?
There's so many things, Ryan, but the first, the last thing we look for is their electrical experience. And that sounds, I'm not trying to say that for people to be out there like, oh, who's coming into my house to do electrical work? Everybody that comes in your house is fully qualified to do it. And, and I put it this way. If we don't send somebody into the field to go to a client's house until I would be comfortable sending them into my mom's house to go do something there by themselves. And once we do that, we now know that we provide, and we're so heavily focused on training. And, we do it. We probably spend 4 to 5 hours a week, every week, on each person for training. So a lot of what we look for is just, personality, team player, willing to learn, open to new ideas. We know we do things differently, and we're perfectly fine with that. And we tell people that ahead of time. We are very, very different than any other electrician out there. When you walk into our office, there's a sign on the wall as soon as you come in that says, we're a customer service company that hires awesome electricians. And, so you could be the absolute best electrician there is, but, if you don't have that customer service side, then it's probably just not going to be a fit for us. So a lot of what we look for is just do you have the drive? Do you have the willingness and care for everybody else? Are you a person that leads with integrity, that we can trust, and you come in, and more so than anything is just you're willing to learn and willing to be a better human and have some electrical skills with it, or willing to learn it, then we could help make you the best electrician there is. And I'll I've been an electrician for 20 years. I'm not going to sit here and say electrical work's the hardest thing in the world, right? Anybody can install switches, receptacles, things like that. And, we have people that tell us that hey, all it is installing a switch or receptacle. We're like, you're right. It really is. You are correct. That's what it is. More of the skill comes into the business side of being able to show up when we say we're going to show up, be able to offer the services we say, have the material on the van. And then more so when the complicated thing happens, we're there to be able to solve that issue as well. So a lot of it, and we do, one of the big things we do is during, we do phone interviews and screenings and, and then we come in for individual interviews. And then we typically even do some sort of like team interview as well, where we'll get a few of the people in the office to kind of sit down with them and just chat with them. Because when you become a part of this team at Astrowatt, like you really are becoming a part of the family. And I mean, every single person that works for us right now has been to my house or been, I've gone out to eat with outside of work hours. My kids know all of them. My wife knows all of them. So when you do join this company, it's a lot more than just joining the company. So we're really looking for that personality and individual way more than what the electrical skill set is that they're providing.
That's good stuff. I mean, you see so many companies, you're a number, you're very separated from the owner or your boss, two very separate things, right? But you're like me, like I invite my team into the home. We have breakfast together. We're hanging out. I just feel as more of a team. You're going to work harder. You're going to go above and beyond. Yeah. So yeah, I'm on the same page.
Yeah. And it
Also,
helps everything.
Yeah, it really does. Your work culture, I feel like y'all have a lot of fun. That's from just from me like hanging out for breakfast, watching your social media. It's silly but fun, but educational at the same time. Talk about that. Talk about your work culture and why it's so important to have that.
That's huge for us. When I started the company, we hit a little bump in the road where we didn't have all the right people in the right places, and the culture kind of went downhill pretty quickly. And when that happened, I took 100% blame for it and realized that we got a little too focused on growth, a little too focused on numbers. It was kind of when we went from the 4 to 5 to 6 people to trying to get to the 15 to 20 people. And it was almost like, hey, why did we stop having fun just because we did this? And I quickly realized that like that can't happen. And it almost made it to a point where I was, it bothered me a lot to just show up every day to not be in a great mood and find some people coming in and not in a great mood. And, we've had people jokingly and, I'll refer to the team as team members. We don't use the word employees at our company. It's just nobody's an employee. We're all part of a team. And we've had team members come in before and be like, sometimes it feels like we can't ever just walk through the door in a bad mood. And I'm like, we can't. And they're like, but sometimes we are. And I'm like, then whatever's causing that, we want to help you with that. And maybe that means, hey, I'm dealing with something at home and I need to stay home for the day. Like that means so much more to us. And so I think a couple things with the culture is one, everybody always says, oh, it starts from the top. Like, I don't believe it does because I think it starts at the bottom and builds its way up. It doesn't matter who you are from the day you start here. When you walk in, we pop off confetti cannons, day one. And, we go all sit down, go around the table and tell different things about each other. Like, we immediately make you feel extremely comfortable to be a part of the team. So with all of that is just it comes down to like standards as well. Like we have everything we do has standards and those standards have to be followed. And as long as those standards are followed, then we can have all the fun in the world. We can go do company happy hours. We can go do company paintball events, meet in the morning for team breakfasts. We have a ping pong table in our office and it is like die hard competitive ping pong happening in the company like daily. We do, with the culture, if you've ever read the book, and I think, is it called Fans First? I believe it's called Fans First. And it was written by the guy that owns the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
And one of the things we do in every one of our like monthly team meetings is we go around and do what's called just like a fans first thing, or come up with an idea that could just help your job, help
Mm.
our customer service, make anything better. And one of the guys was like, we need a fish tank. And we were like, all right, cool. Like 2 weeks later, we had a 150-gallon fish tank sitting in our office, and they're all named, and everybody rotates feeding the fish. And it's like, that's like a very fun thing that our company just comes around together for. So it's tough for me to put my finger on it and say that we build the culture a certain way. I think it's just like every single person that's a part of the team puts in that commitment daily to make sure that we live up to what we want to be, and everybody knows where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do, but we can't do it without having fun. And it almost sounds like a cop out to say this, but Ryan, it's easy. It's not just me trying to teach people what the culture is at Astrowatt. It's as soon as somebody starts, it's other people. Like, we do a company stretch every morning at 8 a.m. in the parking lot, and Colby leads it. And Colby. And, but at 8 a.m., it's like Colby's alarm goes off, and every single person, not just the field. If you're in the office, it doesn't matter. We all go out into the parking lot, and we get in a big circle and do a big team stretch. And it's something we started a few months ago. You should see people drive by sometimes. They're looking at us like, what are those people doing? But like, that's who we are, and that's what we do. We use Slack as our, internal communication, and the amount of messages that fly across on the weekends, like, it's really cool to see. And I won't send work messages on weekends. Like, I've really worked hard not to do it. Maybe a manager, one or two of them may get something from me, but my whole thing is like, when it's a weekend, I don't need everybody worrying about work. You have so many other more important things to be doing, but people, like, there'll be messages flying back and forth. People just talking about what they're doing for the weekend, or somebody's at the beach and, doing something fun, and they want to share it with the team. It's more than just coworkers to everybody. It really is truly like a big family. And that's, I think, where the culture starts.
Tom, that's awesome, man. That's hard to get. Just from coming from a coaching background, and you always want that for your team. So, being an entrepreneur and leading a team myself, it's not easy. We try to do the same, but definitely it's hard to get people to buy in to the
Yeah.
culture, and become a team, become a family, like you're saying.
And
Um,
kudos to you, by the way. You guys have a very similar thing going on, which is awesome. I know when we did that team breakfast together, your team had nothing but positive things to say about everybody, and you're doing a phenomenal job of making sure you're delivering an incredible level of service, but also having a ton of fun while doing it. And that's really cool to see other home service businesses do that as well.
yeah, I appreciate it. What do you think? When you said you were going from like 4 to 6 to like 15, and there was a little hiccup there. What did you see within the culture? What was happening? Was it something that you maybe were not doing, or like what was going on there? Maybe for me personally, I just want to know because it'll help me out.
Yeah. Again, as I said, I kind of put it on myself. I take the blame for it. I think, I don't, we talk maybe too much. People are sick and tired of hearing the phrase systems and processes, but I don't think we always operate as we operate as where our vision wants to go. Right. And our vision has us at multiple locations and giant revenue numbers and being this huge organization, but still nothing changing, the culture being the same and everything being the same. So a lot of the decisions we make are made on a level like that. And what happened was we didn't while yes, some of the systems were in place to go become this big company, the processes weren't in place. So as we started to hire people and bring new people in, we didn't necessarily have the right person running the training for them. We didn't have enough for them to necessarily do. So while the day to day of the business may not have felt like anything was changing, a lot of the operations behind the scenes there were just a lot of frustrations amongst people of confusion going on really in the office. It was, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, who's supposed to be doing this? We brought this extra person in. So now if they're out, do I step in? Do I fill in? And I one of the things, Ryan, when you have a team as close as ours is, it can almost make it a little bit difficult whenever you do have to have the business conversations.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody on the team that I can have a conversation as Tom and Ryan, and we're just talking as friends. And everybody that works for Astrowatt is a friend of mine, and I care deeply about them. And I'm happy to have that conversation with them at any time. They could call me at any hour, and I'm willing to go down that road. But there's also times where the owner is now speaking to the office manager or the service manager or the lead service technician. And at that point, like, let's take Colby, for instance. Like, Colby and I, we hang out all the time. We text constantly. We're always in touch with each other. And that dude is like one of the pumping hearts of this organization and helps us get to where we get to. But like Colby and I may have to have like a harder or difficult conversation sometimes. And when we do it, we know, and he knows, because it's two ways. It's not just like, hey, Tom gets to talk. Like, they can bring any feedback to me they want, and they do. And that's how we get better. But there may be a time, and when Colby and I have that conversation, it's the owner of Astrowatt having that conversation with our field supervisor of Astrowatt Electric. It's not Tom and Colby at that point. And then we can see eye to eye, and then boom, cool, awesome. We'll start wrestling in the office or doing something Colby and I do. But
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I got him down on the ground one time. He refuses to admit it.
I'm gonna need some video of that.
I got to find the camera of that. He tells everybody it didn't happen, but it did.
Nice.
But I think I'm kind of going off on it a little bit, but I think, Ryan, that's what led to the confusion was we didn't have enough of that in place. And we were just like, we're getting busy. The phones ring in. Calls are coming in left and right. We're selling. We're doing all this stuff. It's like, go higher, bring people. And then it was like, hey, we're not set up for a 15-person business. And it's, we started trying to implement a general manager and a service manager and all. And it was like, we don't need all this kind of stuff. Like, we don't we're not at that size yet to need that. What we really just need is, people need to be aware of what they're responsible for, who they report to, what their KPIs are, and then let's just go get it. At that point, it's like, let's go have fun and grow. And then, leave when the time's right, it'll come to us. And I think we tried to force the time a little bit instead of just letting it happen on its own. And I know that it caused a lot of stress for me because we got to this much big, and I was way more stressed out, and the early hours and the late night. I mean, you know what it's like, and it never turns off. And while that doesn't necessarily bother me, I think that's kind of what fuels me to keep going. It did create like a burnout amongst the team, and that's where that culture shift kind of happened.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we're kind of heading that direction. I hired my first manager. I didn't hire, just promoted within the team. So it's a new.
I saw that. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting and scary at the same time because it's all new, and I'm just
yeah,
because we're trying to, we're at 6 now and we're looking to go. I look to this year as being the big year. So it's I don't know. There's a balance there. You can't grow too fast, but you want to grow. It's just. And it's the unknown as well. I mean, you can talk to others that have been in that position, but still for you, it's the unknown. But
yep, it sure is.
Yeah, it's exciting, but scary at the same time.
It is.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah.
But that's, if it was easy, everybody could do it, and not everybody can do it. And, there's a different level, especially you're married, you're a father, you're a business owner, all of those things. And, your kids understand what it is. Your spouse understands what it is. It's, it's different. If you don't know what being an entrepreneur is, it's not just, take off time whenever you want, spend whatever you want. And, you can maybe get it to a level like that. I don't even know if that's ever who I want to be.
Yeah.
I love being involved in the day to day, and, but it's challenging and it's fun. So, as long as you can keep seeing that and realizing that it's not going to be easy and that challenge is what wakes you up and pushes you every day, then, it's exciting to keep doing that.
Yeah, that's where I've come to is just there's going to be challenges, period. Just
Yep.
How are you going to handle those challenges? So if you just get it in your mind, like there's challenges, they're going to come up continue every day, then just, you got to figure it out. So,
Yeah, you sure
uh,
do.
I'm going to pivot a little bit. The personal branding, you
Yep.
switched over, you said it was 2023 to,
So, yeah, January 1, 2023 is when we switched to Astrowatt.
yeah, man, that's crazy. So you did this from in 1 month, right? Is this what went down where y'all were like
Yeah,
wrapping
so
everything? Like, give me the story on that. Just the craziness with the rebranding.
yeah. So the team knew in the back end that we were changing the name. It wasn't like a surprise. Everybody knew. We did get some things in place before we rolled it out and said, "Hey, everybody, this is what we're doing." So we worked with Dan Antonelli, who owns Kick Charge Creative. They're phenomenal, and their process. It's a couple months. I don't remember exactly how many months it took, and I know we delayed some of it with deciding which names and in designs and logos and all that to go with. But I think it was October of 2022 that we had everything finalized. We're like, cool, here's the name. This is who we are. This is what we're going to be. And that was like, all right, what do we need to start doing? So it was like, okay, we need new uniforms because the company's changed. We need to update all of our magnets and our flyers and anything we hand out or give to a client, invoices, estimates, you name it. We need to update our website, right? So it's like, okay, now let's rebuild our website with our new brand, with our images, things like that. And then the big one was, well, we have eight vehicles at the time that show up to customers' houses right now, and they're wrapped in alternate current solutions, and we're going to show up as Astrowatt Electric.
Mhm.
And then we had, I think kind of the part that I didn't think about as much was we have thousands of customers that know us as alternate current solutions that next time they call us, we're going to answer the phone. Thank you for calling Astrowatt Electric. And they're going to be like, never mind, click, hang up. So, it was a process.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of the easy things was, all that branding collateral stuff, yard signs, magnets, all that kind of stuff was, hey, here's our new logo. Go to a vendor, ship them, get them to the office. Cool, good to go. Uniforms, kind of the same thing. Let's just order new uniforms. It was the vans, the website, and then notifying clients. That was the most. I don't want to say difficult, just most challenging. And really, how it worked and what we decided to do was that year we closed down from Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve, and we work with a company, and there's a company in Raleigh called King Tut, and that's who wraps all of our vehicles. And if you guys are ever looking for anybody, they're phenomenal.
yep. That's what we.
And you use him? Yep, awesome.
Yep.
He's great, and he's done personal stuff for us as well. But so we reached out to him, and we were like, "Hey, how are we doing this? What does it look like?" And he was basically like, "Look, we can do every van we can do in like 2 days. So bring two at a time." And it was like during that Christmas break, it was a rotation of the team helping, like drive two vans there, get them wrapped, bring them back. Drive two vans there, get them wrapped, bring them back. And I think we got all of them done except for two. But what we did do with those two is we at least just removed the old wrap off of them. So that by the time, and I think one guy, I'm pretty sure Chris ran one call wearing like all Astrowatt stuff in an alternate current solutions van, but it was an existing client, so it was easier to explain it. And when we went to anybody's house, we handed them a flyer that talked about the rebrand, why we did it. We sent tons of emails and text messages to our existing clients to notify them. But it took a little while, really still, I mean, to be honest with you, Ryan, we probably still have people that call and are looking for alternate current solutions. And they're like, oh, you guys rebranded. And, once we explain why, hey, we're still the same business. We're locally, like sometimes with the brand, it is kind of a little bit more of like an eye opening, boom, there we are versus our old brand that kind of looked like CenturyLink vans. Sorry, CenturyLink. But, you know, it definitely got people's attention a little bit more, but we had some concerns of like, oh, have you guys franchised?
Yeah.
Who owns this thing now and all that kind of stuff. So once they realized, no, it's still owned by the same people, it's still locally owned, operated. Nothing has changed other than the name, and some of the, services that'll just make us a better customer to or client company to them. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, man, I love your branding. It's
Thank
stand
you.
out. Yeah, I love the colors, everything about it. I'm huge
It's
into all that.
exciting.
It almost had me rebranding. I reached out to Dan and his team, and I had like a different vision where I would have. You remember like the '80s, like the notebooks with the different like designs and colors, and like
Yep.
it's like and it has, and I was thinking like a Miami Vice type like color scheme with
Yep.
that, like in like a, because teacher under pressure, have the notebook type thing with the colors. I just never pulled the trigger, but it was just something because yours stands out so much. You just, as soon as you see the colors, see the. I mean, do you have your mascot have a name?
He does. His name's Watson.
Yeah,
And we have, we've got little, I don't think I have, my kids have tons of them, but we have little like stuffed animals of him
yeah,
that we'll give out to clients. And the
smart.
team, when, if anyone travels in the team, they'll take him. One of the guys that used to work for us, he actually retired, and, props to him and his wife, Adam and Colleen, and they sold their house and they're traveling the whole US in an RV or in their camper. And, Adam was a huge help for me and still is. And I still reach out to him and stay in touch with him. But, he's in like Key West right now, and he'll post a picture like holding Watson up with like
Nice.
with Key West in the background and stuff. It's really cool that he continues to do that for us. But yeah, so that his name's Watson, and that's who he is. But I was a little kid whenever we first got this thing right. I mean, if you asked Steven over at King Tut, I probably drove him nuts. Like the very first vehicle we got wrapped, I'm like, is it done yet? Can I come see it? Is it done yet? Can I come? He's like, dude, can you just wait till it's done and then you'll see it when it's done? And I was blown away the first time we saw it. Like the colors just pop. And
Yeah.
I still get excited seeing our vans out on the road. I mean, I see them every morning, obviously, but when I'm driving and I see somebody drive, it catches my attention from miles. As soon as I can see it, I'm like, here it comes. But
Yes,
yeah, we
sir.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. What talk about that? Why? I mean, I see a lot of companies don't reinvest into their branding, wrapping their trucks, nice uniforms with the colors, logos, things like that. How much do you? I mean, I know how much. I don't know how much you spent. I know you put a lot of money into it. Um, what? I mean, what do you think has come out of it as far as like with having that professional look and the branding of your company the way it is now?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't cheap, that's for sure. But it
That's an
was
investment, right? An investment. You got to
it,
think
it
of it
it
different.
really is an investment.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how many other companies are starting to do it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Astrowatt itself is necessarily any better than what alternate current solutions was. What I will say is that like Astrowatt has a story. Astrowatt is a brand. It means something. It
Hmm.
we do something with it every day. And I think what was cool is once we did the rebranding, we adopted that, go back to culture, service, experience. Like we started acting as more, right?
Hmm.
As I was saying, we want to be a residential service company. When we really got that brand done, we started to identify like our identity of who we are, what we are, where we're going, who we want to serve. And that's what Astrowatt is to me. And if you ask the team, like, who is Astrowatt, they're not going to just say, oh, an electrical company. They'll talk about the culture. They'll talk about the team. They'll talk about our clients. And that's really what we wanted with the brand was like share the story of who we are. And it was difficult for me when we first went through the rebrand process of like giving up the name. And I don't know why. My wife hated our alternate current solutions name, like still does if I talk about it. And a lot of people would as well. And when they'd say, what does it stand for? What does it mean? It's like, you know, I'm like, oh, well, alternate current is different than direct current. And they're like, oh, that's confusing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
See ya. Um, so when we rebranded, it was very difficult for me to just be like, well, what is this? How are we just taking this new name? Like, what is it? And that's when we realized that we can't just take this new name. We have to like adopt the identity of who this business is now and then start living with it and growing with it. And it really didn't matter if we called ourselves at the time Astrowatt or something else. But what stuck with us was we talk all the time about where we're going with this business and this incredible level of service. And we talk in the company constantly about like putting out positive energy into the universe, and everything's universe related. And we joke like we're going to the moon and these things. So coming in with Astrowatt, and then, our slogan is stellar service from start to finish, everything kind of tied the brand. And then we identified the identity of the company, and that's what we grow it off of. And that's what it means to me now versus alternate current solutions / ACS / back then. A lot of it was just Tom. It was my name. So much of that company was just really just tied to me. It was, oh, hey, call Tom. Oh yeah, he also owns this company. And now it's like Astrowatt is so much bigger than I am. And I love that, because that's what I want it to be. And that's what's helped us lead and continue to build, the story behind the brand.
That's awesome, man. What made you switch from that mindset and that's hard. I always say that's probably, other than getting started, like switching from the owner thinking he has to do everything and it's all about me type of mindset to switching the mindset to it's about others and, giving your baby away, and letting it free. How did you do that? That's hard for a lot of
it's
people.
tough. Kind of shout out to Paul. I know Paul Yokobitis. I know you just had him on, and he's awesome and building an incredible business. And they're actually we're clients of his, and he's clients of ours, which is really cool.
Oh, really?
But I listen. You had him on a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and he was talking about a lot of that too. And I think you have to kind of put your ego aside and like swallow the pill and basically say like, I can't get this to what I want it to be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've ever been the person that I don't want to be the guy that like when I walk into the room, I tell everyone in the company this, I don't ever want to like walk in the room and people feel different. Well, maybe positively, sure. But I never want them to be like, oh shit, we got to stop talking about what we're talking about because Tom's here or the owner showed up or they come like on the job site. Like, I stopped over the other day, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, the guys were working on a big job and I stopped over and just brought Chick-fil-A for everybody and stopped in and introduced myself, said hi to the customer. And that's what I want this thing to be. We joke and Colby and I joke about it all the time. And I keep going back to him just because you know him. But Colby is an unbelievable electrician. And he jokes all the time that he's now better than me. And we go back and forth on, and I'm like, Colby, but what you don't understand is I want you to be better than me. Like, I really do. I want every single one of you to be better than me when it comes to doing electrical work, because that's what we're trying to do. We're so much bigger than an electrical company. Everybody's going to need electrical work for a long time and the company's not going anywhere, but we're trying to do so much more. We're trying to allow people to come, who may not have went to college and may not have made a lot of money and have been told they're never going to be anything. And then they start working here and 2 years later, they're able to buy their first house, or they're able to buy a ring and get married and engaged and take the vacation they wanted to, go to Disney World for the first time. Like, that's what we're trying to do. I can't do all that myself. And I know that. And I don't think it was very hard for me to kind of sit that aside and say, look, Tom, you've done a really cool thing. You've started it. Let's keep continuing it. But let's go. Let's realize that Astrowatt and the brand and the people and the team and who we are is so much bigger than me. Now, at the same time, I think I'm a huge part of it and probably need to do a better job. Years ago, I used to do way more individual things with the community. I used to attend a ton of networking events and do all these things. And I kind of went away from that for a little bit because while I was doing, I was like, that doesn't matter because that stuff's more Tom related. Let's focus more on Astrowatt. I've also realized while Astrowatt continues to grow, I play a huge role in being able to get that there. And my personal brand and image can help do that as well, just because of who I am and what I've done so far and the people I know. So it's easier for me to say, hey, let me try on the back end, try to go do things and build things, but I don't need the credit. I don't need any of that kind of stuff. Like, none of that is important to me at all. I get tickled to death still today when our guys get incredible reviews and they mention their names. And, we've had clients send us cards before. One of my neighbors who lives up the street, Grant went and did a job for her a year or so ago, and we get an email with a $100 Starbucks gift card. And she's like, can you please do me a favor and give this to Grant?
Nice.
Like, that kind of stuff's just incredible to see. And that's what I want to do, is like to continue my, if really my role in this just became helping individuals, become something they didn't think was possible, then I'm getting way more out of this than I ever thought I could.
That's awesome, Tom. It's funny when I haven't done this a lot, but just the people you talk to, it's like they're all in the same mindset, and it's kind of easy to see why they're successful. But yeah, I mean, great mindset. I think it's the winning mindset. So
Yeah.
keep at it for sure. If I have electrical problems, if I need you, if I need Astrowatt, give yourself a shameless plug. How do I get up with the company? How do I get some?
Yeah.
Gotta get someone. How do I get Colby out here?
Couple different ways. The quickest way is to call us. We answer the phone 24/7. I can give a phone number here. I don't think that's going to benefit anything. Everybody's going to go to Google. So if you look us up, give us a call. That's the easiest way to do it. You can also go to our website, which is callastrowatt.com. We have a company policy. Just if somebody shares a link in that, like, it's our policy that we submits a request form in that. It's our policy that we respond to them within 5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And that's who we are, right? We don't want you to have to submit something and then say, did it go through? Did they get it? Did they receive it? So really the top two is, call us, go to our website, and then really, so many people see us out and about and see us working at jobs. Like, stop by, feel free. The guys would love if you did that. If we're working in your neighborhood and you have questions, feel free to just, if you see us out at the van, stop by, talk to us. We can give you a business card. We can answer whatever questions you've had. We've been able to help people, figure out their electrical issues without having to come out before. We've been able to, help them make a decision before we get out there. So if we can do that, that's what we want to do. You can also reach out to us on social media. We have a lot of fun on social media. So if you want to check that out, kind of go over there. And again, similar, if you send us a message or respond to us there, we'll get back to you immediately as well.
Awesome, Tom. I always like to recap just to kind of, if anybody's listening, I don't know if anybody is or not, but customer service, it's a huge piece. It's who Astrowatt is. Also a huge piece of teacher under pressure. Help grow your business. The thing that stood out, don't worry about the numbers as much. Worry about the customer more. It's always the bigger picture. I totally agree with that. Winning culture is, let it reflect who you are. Fun, exciting, a place where someone wants to come and work, and you're not just a number. And from what I could read out of that, they feel open to tell you what's going on, and they're not like scared to mention anything. It's for a winning culture, because we all know good employees are hard to find. Your A players will increase everything around you when you're trying to grow. So that's huge. And the personal branding, just what you did, how you turned it around, how you tell your story, not just through the website and us reading it, but also through social media, and just showcasing that is huge, because everybody likes a good story, and it kind of showcases who you are. Tom, I appreciate it, my man. I think if anybody listens, they'll get some good information out of this for sure. Stick around for like a couple minutes. I want to make sure this gets recorded. It sometimes is funky, but thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it too, and looking forward to continue working together to see what we can do in this, not only this market, but this industry as a whole.
Oh yeah. Big things coming.